All right guys, in today's video, we're gonna talk about 5 things you need to know when making your first mobile app. What was the second thing? All right, so you have a mobile app idea and you don't know what to do next. Well, the good thing is that's what I'm here for. So if you look behind me, I'm standing in our office and I started a company called Grand Apps about 7 years ago. I actually recently just did a video on my channel walking through the renovations of our space. So right behind me is our current space under construction, but we've been building our app development company over the past 7 years, and I thought it'd be good to give you guys 5 things that you should be looking for, or at least know, when you're making your first mobile app. So as you could probably imagine, over the past 7 years, I've heard almost every app idea that you could possibly think about, from the next Uber to another game app like Angry Birds. I've signed a ton of NDAs. But before we get into the list, what I wanted to give you guys was a pro tip. And I thought this was funny because when I was thinking about compiling this list, I like to add a little humor to it. And I was thinking about if there's some funny memes out there. And I came across this meme talking about equity. I can't tell you guys how many times that I've been pitched equity in partnership with somebody who has the next billion-dollar idea. What I'm here to tell you guys is don't try to get free work. Now, if you have a viable app idea that really holds its value and you want to give up some equity, that's great. But don't just try to give up equity to partner with somebody, especially an app company like us, because we have a lot of hard costs that go into actually running a business. Now, if you want to get a freelancer, that's a different story. But I'm just giving you guys a pro tip because a lot of companies like myself and other developers have heard that one before, so you're not pulling a fast one on us. I just want to let you guys know that. All right, so when you're making your app, tip advice number 1, something that you should know going into making your app, and this might seem kind of basic, but believe it or not, a lot of people miss this. So number 1 is going to be research. Do your research. You would not believe how many people don't do your research. And what I will say is don't rely on the developers or the development company to do the research for you, because that is not our job. We will look into it, but don't come up with the first idea that you have and do no research to make sure it's viable. So you have to dig deep, right? Do as much research as possible. Yes, the app developers and the app companies might know comparable apps, but there's millions, hundreds of millions of programs and apps out there. There's no way that it's possible for one developer, one freelancer, one company to know everything that's out there. So the research is on you. It's your idea, it's your baby. Make sure you do it before you go down the road of taking the next steps. All right, so tip number 2 when you're making your app, you want to come up with an MVP, minimal viable product, feature list. What features do you absolutely need? What are those features going to do? And then also, as you're making this list to get ready to send to a developers or development company, what you want to do is put a wish list. So you have your want list and your wish list, and that's going to allow the developers to make a more accurate quote to see how much it's going to take time and money to build out this app idea. So you have to do your research, and you have to put together a detailed list of what the app is going to do as best as you possibly can. Because there's some people that come to us, again, over the past 7 years, where they have literally handwriting on napkins, which is fine. It just takes us longer to go through the discovery process to see what they need. The more time you spend upfront researching and making your list, the quicker you could start your project, from getting an estimation standpoint to raising money from investors to actually developing the mobile app. The next thing is you have to find somebody to actually build the app. You could look at hiring a company. You could hire freelancers. You can outsource, which is kind of the same thing from hiring a company to freelancers, but you can outsource to other countries as well. Now, we've done almost everything in our company, from hiring internal developers to using freelancers on project basis to even using overseas teams. And there's a lot of benefits, pros and cons to doing both. Also, you want to make sure that you get multiple quotes from multiple companies, and I would say mix it up a little bit. I would say go overseas, get a quote from a company like ours, get a quote from a freelancer. It's up to you to do the research to find the right company. So a lot of times, as you guys know, just like hiring anybody else, it's going to come down to the body of work, the resume, the pricing, their capabilities, and then your gut feeling. Do you like them? Do you think that you could build a partnership with them? Because these projects are going to take longer than you think. They're not a simple website where it's going to take 1 month, you build it, you launch it. If it's a more custom project, it's probably going to take longer. So you want to make sure that you could really trust and like and work with that company, because they're going to be your partner in this project over the next many months. All right, so number 4, looking at budget. A lot of times when we send estimates out, people get sticker shock. They don't realize how much a custom mobile app project is. If you want to build an iPhone and Android, which are the 2 biggest platforms in which people consume mobile apps, that almost double your cost, because if you're building a native app, you have to build it on the iOS platform and the Android platform. If you're making a very, very custom idea that's unique to you, you want to make sure that you do have a pretty good budget. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like I said, I've heard a lot of app ideas, and people come to us and they want the next Uber of this. Yes, there are technologies to bring the cost down of development, but it still is costly to develop these platforms. A lot of these big platforms that were built have a lot of funding behind them. They have investors, they have money, $50,000, $60,000. I've seen quotes range from those variances from $15,000 to $60,000 for, again, the MVP. So you're aware you don't have sticker shock. It is more expensive usually than a basic website that's built in Shopify or WordPress or designed in a Squarespace or a Wix. It's gonna cost a good amount of money. And again, it's an investment. If you're building an app that you're gonna take to market or a piece of software for consumers, you're starting a business. Now, if you're building an app that's internal for your business operations, then that is still an investment, but usually those apps either save time or they save money for the operation of the business. So it's an investment where they're going to recoup that initial investment later, but if you're starting a consumer app, it's going to cost some money. So don't get sticker shock, just understand that you have to have a budget. It's not a big deal. You could raise money from investors, family and friends, maybe you have your own money, but just know that it's probably going to cost a little more than you think. And the last point to consider when building your app is going to be time. Just know that it's going to take more time than you think. The reason I wanted this angle so you guys can see that pile of wood for our office renovation. So think about building an app just like building a house. So if the house is bigger, there's more square footage, it's more complex with more custom features, that house is usually going to take longer to be built. It's no different from a mobile app. So if your app is bigger, it has more features, more complexity, it's probably going to take a longer amount of time. And usually if it's a bigger app, you want to design it and make it absolutely beautiful, so the design phase is still going to take a little longer too. Again, if it's bigger, you're probably going to have to test more, and testing is going to take a little longer. So you want to consider that. So you need to do your own research. And with that research, you need to build out your MVP. From there, you're going to take your list with your research and you're going to find a company or freelancers or developers to hire in-house to build your app. Then what you need to consider is budget and pricing. It's probably going to be more than you expect. And going into number 5, it's usually going to take longer than you think. And remember the pro tip, don't offer equity to get free work, because we know. I hope you guys appreciate this video, and I hope that it sheds some light on things you need to know before getting into the app development. I wanted to share this because there's a lot of more people who have app ideas who want to hire people as opposed to actual people who want to actually build the apps. So I thought taking it from that perspective would be a little better. Comment below what's your app idea, because I know you have it, and I'll let you know if I've heard it before.